Hello friends, in this video I want to share with you some of the things that I learned during my first year of homeschooling my daughter who was in first grade. Let's hang out a little bit, let's have a little chat. I am sure that I could learn so much from you amazing homeschool mamas out there. Feel free to leave a comment below and share with me a little bit about your journey and what you've learned so far. Stick around with me. My name is Kristen. Welcome to my channel, Fearlessly Loved, where I talk about all things homeschooling, family, and faith, and where I hope to leave you a little bit more encouraged, or a lot more encouraged, on this journey that we're all on. I know that the different phases of being a mother are taxing and draining, and sometimes we're functioning on negative levels. Sometimes we're functioning on fumes. And it's always important that we are being filled with some truth, some encouragement, and some light so that we could pour out to our kids. If you like this video, make sure you like it and leave a comment below. Ask me any question that you have. Subscribe to my channel and press the little bell icon to let you know when I put more content out there. I want to be a resource for you because so many of you amazing homeschool mamas have been so encouraging for me. I have a daughter. We just finished off our first year of homeschooling. We are homeschooling year-round. Over the summer, you know, it was a little bit more laid back over the summer, and we are about to embark on our second year of second grade, and we could not be more excited about it. So I want to give you 8 little nuggets that I am holding on to and keeping with me, kind of keeping at the forefront of my mind to make sure that I'm not going off course or not falling into some of the traps. Some traps that I may have fallen into last year. I hope that this can help you as you start your journey. Maybe you're starting your journey. Maybe you're on the fence about whether or not you think that homeschooling is for you and your children. Maybe you're choosing something different than homeschool but are curious about it. I hope that this can help you on whatever kind of journey that you're on. Okay, so the number one thing that I learned during my first year of homeschooling was this big, huge P word called patience. Patience. I learned patience, and this is something that I spoke about on a previous video. Patience is not my thing. It's not my strength by any measure. I'm sure maybe a lot of you are in the same boat. I am impatient when it comes specifically, sadly, when it comes to self-control. I do not have the best self-control when it comes to my husband and my children, my daughter. You know, I tend to take it from 0 to 100 on the passion level. Let's just put it that way. So I really had to hold back a lot. I really had to learn how to breathe, and I had to learn how to put things in perspective when things weren't going as planned, or things weren't up to my expectations, or when there was pushback, or when there was a bad attitude, or when there was whining and complaining. I really had to pick my battles and very literally breathe and pause and take a moment or two. I heard another homeschooling mama on here who said that they take a break, like in the room or in the bathroom, and shut the door. I so related to that. Guys, I learned this. I learned this during homeschool. In terms of, you know, in marital relationship and in counseling, you know, that like the pause technique, even knowing that technique existed, like I never actually was able to implement that. Homeschooling, I didn't really have a choice. I didn't, you know, there's no choice when you're with your child day in and day out and you are trying to get through lessons, and there is a great purpose in homeschooling. Like this is a big weight that's on us as mamas, right? I didn't have a choice. Like I needed to learn this, and I needed to learn this quick. And yeah, patience was absolutely number one for me. I haven't arrived anywhere, but I'm hoping to continue to grow as we go on and move into our second year. So the second thing that I learned last year was who knew about all the resources that are out there for homeschoolers? Who knew? I knew homeschooling a couple decades ago when my husband and I were youth leaders in our church, and it just seemed like homeschooling was a whole other thing back in the day. I had no idea all the resources that were out there. I had no idea how many curriculums were out there and how many different styles of curriculums, how many, there's classical education, there's Charlotte Mason, there's Montessori, there's this and that, unschooling and game schooling and all of it. I had no idea, and I had no idea what these curriculums were all about and how easy, I guess, is that a word? How easy they make it for you to do this, like for anyone out there who doesn't think that they can do this, you can do this. If this is truly something that you feel called to and that you are strongly leaning towards and feel convicted about, that you want to teach your child, but if fear is what's holding you back, you can do this. You can do this. You can choose the right curriculum that fits your child. And that's the thing. Even if you don't choose the right one, you can just scrap it and try something else. And if that doesn't work, try something else. There is something out there for you. It's amazing. It's amazing how many different resources are out there. And just as many resources are out there when it comes to teaching resources and supplements and tools for us. There are just as many moms who are encouraging and supporting and lifting up other homeschool moms. I had no idea the community and the circles that existed in my own community, in my own circle of friends even. There's so many moms in my circle of friends that are just jumping on the board. I don't want to say bandwagon because it's not a bandwagon. Like, it's a thing. It's homeschooling. It's its own thing, and it's going to stand the test of time. I believe that wholeheartedly, and I believe that parents are really starting to see that. I didn't realize the support that was out there online when it came to YouTube. Who knew there were millions of homeschooling videos on every different topic that you could possibly imagine? Who knew this? I didn't know. Who knew that there were all these Facebook pages devoted to homeschooling and the different curriculums? And you want to, if you're new to homeschooling, you want to put yourself into a community, if not co-ops, and if there's not a community around you, if there's no play groups around you, get involved in a Facebook group. Get involved in online support groups. There is so much out there. So that was 2 and 3. The fourth thing that I learned last year is that, so I love planning. I love writing out schedules. I've said this a few times before on this channel, I love checklists. I love envisioning and just having like a full scope of what the year is going to look like, and I just love writing it out. I love planning it out and putting it in a notebook and making it look pretty. I learned that as much planning as that you can do, it's just so easy to scrap it all and do something completely different. I want to be able to roll with the punches, flow, and do what makes us happy and what works best for my child and I. And again, that's what's so amazing about homeschool, is that you can do that. You can change something up on the dime. You know, that's not something that you can necessarily do with a big group of kids. The fifth thing that I learned last year is that sometimes less is more. I have a tendency to just want to do everything, and just being able to see flip throughs of everything that's out there and getting a taste of what other people are doing, and I just want to do it all. I learned that that's pretty impossible to do that. I learned that doing too much at one time is detrimental and backfires on you. So I learned to, just hold back some on certain days and do less, because when you do less, there is more that my daughter is able to absorb, and we just honestly have more fun, as opposed to cramming everything in just to get it done, and then just making it miserable for the both of us. So this year, I think I'm going to incorporate looping schedules. If you don't know about what that's all about, maybe I'll do one. Maybe I'll do a video on looping as we, implement it in our homeschool. There are plenty of videos out there, moms who talk about looping and what that is. Having a looping schedule is a way that allows you to do a lot, like a broad amount of subjects at a time, but do it in a way that is wise and not overbearing for your child. Looping certain subjects and alternating them every day. The sixth thing that I learned on my homeschool journey last year with my daughter was that I can't push through a lesson just for the sake of pushing through a lesson. It ends in disaster for us. Again, it's just like my mentality of, there's probably perfectionism in there, like pushing through something just to complete it, just like in a stubborn way, like we need to get through this. This is what we need to do, hell or high water, like we just need to do this, like gritting our teeth. I learned that is not wise. That is not the smart way to go about homeschooling, just to have like a check in the box of getting things done or getting through a lesson to get to the next, and this is the schedule and this is what we're doing. That is not good. I learned that very early on in our journey last year, to be aware of certain signals and signs where my daughter will kind of like start breaking down, and where it starts to get ugly on both sides of the equation, me and my daughter. So just learning and adjusting and avoiding, ultimately, the disaster and the blow-ups that are waiting to happen when I am being stubborn and just wanting to push and steam through it, when just my daughter, understandably, just doesn't have any more capacity. And for me to be like, it's okay, like that's okay, we don't have to get through this lesson. Let's move on. Let's play a game. Let's do something fun. Let's go outside instead. And for me to be okay with that. And that's something that I definitely want to grow in myself moving on into this next year. The seventh thing that I learned last year is to not be so idealistic. Like I can't have this idealistic way that I think that the day or the week is going to go. I can't have an idealistic view of my daughter being in the most amazing and calm and peaceful and the world is beautiful, joyful attitude that she's going to be in every single minute of the homeschool day. I can't imagine it to just go so perfectly. Again, it's, perfectionist mentality, idealistic mentality. And that was another thing that I learned very early on as well. We're going to have really amazing days. We've had so many amazing days. And we're going to have really, really bad, ugly, days that we don't want to relive ever in our lives. You know, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly during homeschooling, and it's just a broad spectrum. And, you know, that's just being okay with that and expecting that to happen and addressing the things that need to be addressed and giving the proper discipline that needs to happen, and, you know, knowing when you need to push forward with your child. Because this is school and this is a responsibility, and at the same time knowing when to hold back. They're a kid. I can't put these expectations on my child that I can't live up to myself. Do I wake up every day like gearing gung-ho for the day, every single day of my life, every moment of my life? No, that's not me. Do I complain? Yes. Do I not feel like doing certain things that are hard? Yes. So why would I have different standards for my own child? The eighth thing that I learned last year in our first year of homeschooling is that I learned more about my daughter. I have the opportunity, you know, she's our only child. It's just, you know, one-on-one, and I'm sure it's the same for bigger families, maybe not to the degree, but I'm sure you all have those special moments, individual moments with your children. I'm with her every day, and I've just learned more about her, and we've created more of a bond with each other, and I just think it's beautiful that we get to share this time together, even when it's not the greatest time that we have together. We've just been learning so much, and she was once a daddy's girl. And it used to bug me that, you know, it always used to be daddy, 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 daddy. And, you know, now these days, she tends to, you know, want to be around me. And I love that. I love that. It's special. Of course, she still adores her daddy. But I just love how the communication between us has grown as she's grown. The topics that we're discussing, you know, because a lot here is surrounded about God's word, because it is involved, and the foundation of, you know, of all of the subjects here, some more heavily than others. And we've just had some really great conversations and some really good opportunities for her to know more about Jesus and to know more about who she is in him, and for her to know who I am as her mother. And it's just been such a blessing and so special, and that's one of the main reasons why I am so looking forward to doing this again for a whole other year, going into second grade. So I hope this was helpful for you. I hope this has encouraged you. I hope that you can learn from my terrible mistakes from last year and be able to implement and be cognizant of yourself as you are homeschooling your child or just starting off. Don't make the same mistakes I made. And if you do, it's okay. Just learn from them. All right, I hope you enjoy my video. I hope you have a blessed day, and I will see you on the next video.